right? What do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
It's time!
Welcome back to another Sunday afternoon episode of Software Explorations, and I am your host, Tech Coach Ralph. We will continue to trek through the muddy swamps of Terraform so we can enhance our learning and our skills, and we can get to it. All right, so let's see. Let me put this up first. Right here. Where am I? There it goes. Let's put that up right here. Give me 1 second. Be right back. All right, I'm back. Just had to check on something real quick, but I am back and we are ready to roll. So before we go any further, first and foremost, I want to thank all of the newest subscribers. We are growing at such a rapid pace.
I appreciate you.
So I appreciate you and thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing to the channel and all that good stuff. And we have our good friend Don, who has been working tirelessly through Thanksgiving. He wants to know, is this AI? Well, is it? I don't know. We shall find out. But let's keep moving along. So thank you to all of the newest subscribers. You guys are awesome. You guys are amazing. All right, the volume on this is way too high. Give me a second. Much better, much better. Okay, cool. So the next thing we are up in our agenda is, if you haven't done so yet, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you can know every time we go live, because we do amazing things here. Like me and Don have been working on some crazy things these past couple of days, and we might be bringing something new to you soon. Who knows, right? And trying to put together this Tech Team 6 panel, and you already saw I dropped the chat that I had with Andrew yesterday. So if you haven't done so, check out that video. It was a very, very good conversation, and he will be on the panel once I figure that when we're going to do that. He'll be on the panel, Tech Team 6 panel. maybe not. Don will be there. Who knows? Socks will definitely be there, and we'll see who else we can get to join us, and we can have a great time. It's not going to be anything specific. It's not like a Q&A or anything. We're just going to be hanging out, talking about our experiences, the different things that we've done, that type of stuff, right? So nothing major, but hey, we like to talk. And like when I saw the conversation happening between Don and Socks the other day, I was like, okay, we need to make this a show where we can just hang out, chat, all that good stuff. And, then the conversation with Andrew, his background, Don's background, Sock's background, we're more on the QA side. He's more on the cybersecurity side. But, we all touch like different fields of like, I go in and out of cybersecurity. Don, he's just all over the place. And, so it's going to be fun. So working on that. So hit the notification bell so you can know whenever we go live, whenever we drop a new video. And then like this video, share this video with everyone. You share with everyone because you don't know who it's going to help. And, that's what we are here for. We are trying to encourage and, let you know that you're not alone out there. You have plenty of resources. But while you have plenty of resources, you need to make sure that you utilize those resources, because if you don't say anything, then we won't know. And we're just going to keep doing our thing. If you have a question, let us know in the chat or leave a comment. Right? And we'll get back to you. And also, if you haven't done so yet, check out the Patreon at techcoachralph.dev. Team up with me. I'm putting amazing information. I just released my updated list of the presentations that I use for software explorations, the concept and overviews. So you can take that, make it your own, modify it, update it, change the background, use that, to present to your team at work or at school, and maybe in your boot camp or maybe in college, whatever it is that you're doing, right? You use those resources that I'm giving you to make yourself better, to level up, and that, impress people, that's the point, right? To get better, to level up and get the career and the job that you want to get. All right. So check out the Patreon and shout out to my tech barbarians. I'll tell you this, right? One of the tips that I gave one of my tech barbarians, we were working on it yesterday for about an hour and a half to get them in the right place. And it's going to be amazing once they start, I give the strategy. It's your job to implement, right? I'm not going to, that strategy that I gave is a Patreon level strategy. And, if you want me to help you get to that next step, hit me up. All right. But that is the plan. And, I spend time with the people who invest in themselves, and invest in me. So I'm going to make sure that I'm going to put them in the best position. I can't make sure that you're successful, but I'm going to put you in the best position with my capabilities, get you further along to make you successful. So that is my goal. To the people that I work one-on-one with, that is my goal. I want to see you successful in all that you do. All right. So with that being said, let's move on to our live show schedule. So we have Coffee and Kata Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Yes, Eastern Time. So if Don wants to watch out there in the West Coast, he's going to have to watch at 4:15 a.m. Eastern Time. And if Don happens to pop up on one of those morning shows one day, I will I'll stop the show and I'll bring him up and we'll have a conversation in the morning. So with that being said, Coffee and Kata, Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Time, where we just do a quick little news, like we look over the news real quick, maybe one or two articles, 3 at the most, and then we get into our coding challenge. Last time, we tried to push up a pull request. I would like to talk to Don about that. You know what? One of these days we're going to bring him up and we're going to see what he thought about that. But I tried to open up a pull request because we fixed our health check page for the rock, paper, scissors challenge. But we did not have permissions to open a pull request. So allegedly, Don gave us permissions to do the to open up the pull request, to submit to the repo, and we will try that tomorrow morning to see if that is indeed accurate. So we'll find out tomorrow morning. So stay tuned, folks. All right. So enough of that. So Sunday afternoons, right now we have software explorations. We are going through the muddy waters of Terraform, And then Tuesday nights, we have our Q&A session. And so I will make the preliminary announcement now. On December 12th, we'll be having our second monthly edition of cybersecurity Q&A with our good friend Socks. And so I'm saying it now. I'm going to be scheduling it like tomorrow, so you guys can have ample amount of times to tune in. You can hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. Tune in, get your questions answered. If you can, I'm also going to make a post, right? I'm going to make a post on the community post. So if you have questions, you can ask it there too. So all the places that I am, right? Wherever it is, you can ask me a question for Cybersecurity Night on December 12th, and I will make sure that the questions are answered, as well as you can tune in on the show and you can ask questions there as well, But yeah, so I'm giving you plenty amount of time to get your questions ready because we want to help you in the field of cybersecurity, which to me, cybersecurity is very, very closely related to QA. So there's that. So once again, Tuesday nights, Q&A sessions, right? We are going to be having our regular Q&A sessions this coming Tuesday night. And then we have Thursday nights, software explorations, where, we just we try different things. And then there's the impromptu lives that we have, like working through the website design for my friend through WordPress. And then I did I guess it was kind of impromptu on Thanksgiving, but it was in the morning where I went through doing some stuff in Docker because I needed to Dockerize an Express app. So all of those things are live for you. So, that's why I say subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can know every single time that we go live, because there is so many things for you to learn. All right. So many things. So this message, if you want to get into the tech field, you just got to be around it. You got to try things out. At first it's going to be foreign to you, but trust me, the more you listen, the more it's going to start to make sense. And then you're going to know what you're doing and you're going to want to get more involved. And then you're going to want to jump in on the stream and say, hey, can you do a code review for me? I'm like, oh, sure. And then we're going to pull up your code on GitHub or wherever you have it pushed. And we're going to review the pull request and we'll leave comments and all that type of good stuff. And we shall go from there. All right. So that being said, that is our live show. Let's run it down real quick one more time. Coffee and Kata. News and coding challenges in the morning, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7:15 a.m. Sunday afternoons at 2:15 p.m. Eastern Time, software explorations. Tuesday nights, Q&A sessions at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time. And Thursday nights, more software explorations at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time. All right? Now we move into our pre-recorded content. We have Mondays, Candid Conversations. Wednesdays, Software Explorations, Concept and Overviews. Fridays, the Bug Bite. So this coming Monday, we are going to be talking about, I'm going to give you some insight on the hiring process because I see these ridiculous posts about, all these people were interviewed and nobody hired and all that, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you know what? And then the amount of people who are reposting it and liking it and all that stuff. And I think they have an idea about how difficult the hiring process is on the company side, as well as it's difficult on the interviewee side, right? The person who needs a job. But, it's always one-sided. So I'm going to give it some balance. I'm going to break it down from my perspective of someone who's been on both sides, who does hiring, who's part of the hiring process, and who has been looking to be hired as well. And, how to play the game, So that is going to be tomorrow. Monday, Candid Conversations. It's going to be dropping at noon. All these times drop at noon, all right? Wednesdays, Software Explorations. I'm going to go over my top used terminal/Linux commands that I use as a QA engineer, things that I use every single day, and, share that with you. And I would like to hear about what are some of the ones that you use on a daily basis in your role, whether you are a Linux administrator, system administrator, network administrator, cybersecurity engineer, whatever it is, I want to hear about it. And then Friday, we are going to be doing the Bug Bite, where we are reviewing the lawsuit that is pending against Southwest Airlines. All right. So Mondays, Candid Conversations. Wednesdays, Software Explorations. Friday, the Bug Bite. And then throughout the week, I'm still debating with these shorts, but I'll be dropping some shorts. And I have at 3 p.m. Eastern Time a clip from the Q&A show that I make it in small, digestible pieces for you so you can have a quick hit and see the information that you need, because sometimes it's hard to sit through a 2-hour Q&A session when you just need one thing answered. All right. So with that being said, that is our pre-recorded show schedule. And like I said earlier, we have the cybersecurity Q&A coming up in about 2 weeks. It's going to be on December 12th, 2023 at official starting time, 8 p.m. But you know me, I like to get started a little early, start having some fun at 7:15. So our time is going to be the same, but we will be joining our good friend Socks at 8 p.m. to have our cybersecurity Q&A. All right. So with that being said, let's move on. So with all that information that I just gave you, what we have going on, I know you're like, I can't keep up with all of that. What do I do? So what you have to do is subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every single time that we go live, right? Every single time we drop a new video. It's a lot. Trust me, it's a lot. But I'm trying to get you there just a little bit faster, because from what I've seen, people say, oh, I really want to do it. I really want to do it. I really want to get into this. I really want to get into that. And then I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's do it. Let's go. And then I put my foot on the gas and I'm going at 100 miles an hour. And then I look around and they're not there. They're not there. And, it breaks my heart, because they always say,
Ain't believing us.
but then it's hard to believe in you when you don't show up. All right. So subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every single time that we go live. So, come on this journey with me, and you might not be able to do all the things that I'm doing, but do something, and,
You either win with us or you watch us win.
And I would rather you come out here and win with me, win with Don, win with Socks, win with Andrew, win with all of us, Come and win with us, all right? So, that being said, I am ready to get going. But before we do that, let's take a look at the chat real quick. So, I will not even attempt to read that, but Don says, Ralph is awesome in Hawaiian. That is awesome. Thank you, Don. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you.
And Don said, "Hope video doesn't freeze." Yeah, you gotta fix that, Don. We were on a call the past couple of days, and his camera kept freezing. So we're working on that. Before we officially bring Don up, he has to dot his T's and cross his I's. So. And he says, I did a review on your PR for WebDriver. It was merged already. There's a funny story about that. So here's a story about that, right? So we're working on, we're talking to
Good guy.
and they like this application this repo that he found, right? And it had an older version of Selenium, and it was and this is in Python, right? And
Good guy.
is a Java guy, right? So so he's trying to navigate his way through Python, and I look at the code, and it has hard coded to the Chrome driver on the computer. I'm like, I'm gonna update this to use the WebDriver manager, which I've shown plenty of times through Python, like working through Python, right? And so then I opened up a pull request, and then the next day it says it's merged, and then I'm like, hey, did it work? And
Good guy.
says he's like, oh, I'm getting an error. I'm like, did you try it before you merge it? He's like, no, I trusted you. I'm like, oh crap, why would you do that? But actually, the problem that it was is the code that he was using, the repo, was from an older it was old. So it was using like Selenium 3, and the code that I updated was for Selenium 4 because I didn't even look to see what version they were using because I'm like, oh, everybody's using Selenium 4. And I was like, oh, okay, that's what the problem is. So we went ahead and updated it to Selenium 4, and then it worked amazingly. So, those are the type of things that you just gotta keep pushing yourself forward, keep trying things out. If you are looking to build experience to get better, whatever it is you're trying to do, like one of the strategies, go and look for different GitHub repos, see how you can contribute, see how you can maybe you can test it, maybe you can ask a question, maybe you find an issue, do something, right? The key is to do something.
Message.
All right. So with that being said, I am ready to get started. All right. So before we get started, what we got to do.
Please offer me your energy. I ask of you, please.
Today is a Celsius day, apparently. All right. So the plan for today, we are going to be going back into so last time we tried to do the VPC and it failed. We had some errors, all that stuff. But I saw a comment in like the questions that they ask on the in the course of other people were having that issue too about what was the error again? It was about some IP address thing, right? But what I want to do, I want to go back a little bit, right? I want to try to create the VPCs manually, create the subnet manually, and then try to start an instance on that VPC manually to see if we're able to get that to work, right? And if we're able to get that to work, then, we are going to take it into Terraform, right? Because here's the thing, right? I tried to use the code that they gave us in the course, which here's the thing, like we always find out, right? When we just try to use what's given to us without having that full understanding, it's going to be a mess. All right. So what we're gonna do is create it manually, just like we do in QA and automation, right? We create it manually, we get it to work manually, and then we're going to go through the code. We can still use some of their code, right? But we're gonna go through it ourselves so that we can make sure that we're putting in the right VPCs and we're putting just our right configuration, that's creating the VPCs properly, it's doing the subnet properly, and then it's starting up the instance properly on that VPC. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. So what we're going to do is go into AWS. I'm already logged in. And so on this screen, have AWS. On this screen, I have, let's open up a little bit wider, but I have our Terraform with our Terraform stuff. Okay. So first things first, let's put our timer up and we are going to go for our first 20-minute. And once we're done with this, like, cause I don't have anything else planned, but if I do have time, depending on how much time this takes and if Don happens to want to come up and I'm done with this, we can chat and talk and you guys can hear from Don, his perspective and everything like that, if he's available or if anyone else is available, right? So depending on how much time this is done, I will drop the link and we can, if anyone wants to come up, we can have a chat. If not, I can end it and I can get on with my life. Oh, by the way, right? By the way, before we even get started, right? Let's go. Here's how we don't miss, right? So still have to record videos which are done for this week. Still have to edit videos, all that stuff. But yesterday I was still able to go over and help out at my my parents' house to build a deck, right? So you have to like, I will never forget this comment that my good friend China said, and I've heard it before too, but you always find time for what's important. So if you think you don't have enough time, you don't have any time, well, maybe whatever it is that you need to do is not that important to you. So they needed help. I was able to make some time to go help them, but we don't miss, right? We don't miss. We still are going to be dropping all of our videos. We still go live. Like the only times that I don't go live is when I am like out of town and it's like bad internet or I'm just not in a good place to do it. But if I'm here and it's scheduled, we're doing it. All right. Because we don't miss. I come from the camp of we don't miss. All right. So with that being said, I just wanted to share that, right? And I'll post some pictures to it on Instagram and on community tab to show that although we have everything is work. Like I tell you, everything is work. I love to work, and so prioritize what's important to you. All right. So let's get to it. So let's put up our first 20 minutes.
It's time to do.
All right. So let's move over here, and we have. So we want to go to our VPCs. So VPC stand for Virtual Private Network. Is it over here? Maybe not. Let's see. VPC. All right, VPC. And let's go here. So we created one last time. I'm gonna delete it. We're gonna just start all over again. I'm not gonna delete the default one. If I try to delete VPC, what happens? This will also, all right, will be deleted. All right, and then what is this? Subnet. Terraform Livestream. What is this? ACL. Well, whatever. Just delete it all. Delete it all. All right. So let's go ahead and create our VPC. And we shall call it Terraform Manual VPC, and let's give it a date of 11/23/2023. Or today's on 26/2023. And we shall say let's go with the 10s. Go with that, and we'll go with that. So we have our VPC created, and now so we have that, and there's an ACL created. What does ACL stand for again? Network ACL. Do a quick Google search. An optional layer of security that acts as a firewall for controlling traffic in and out of a subnet. You can associate multiple subnets with a single network ACL, but a subnet can be associated with only one ACL at a time. Access control list. Okay, cool. Thank you, Don, for that. Oh my God, it's like. Thank you so much, Don. It's like having a ChatGPT right there, right? You ask and you shall receive. Okay, cool. So now we have our VPC created, and we need to create our subnet. I need to study up again on subnets. I used to be so good at subnets when I was in school, but I just know them. I remember there's something about the math behind it, but let's see. So now we want to associate it with this VPC and create a tag name. Let's call it Terraform Manual VPC subnet 11/26/2023. Availability zone. Availability zone, we want, let's go with US East 1. And we can leave that, I believe. And I'm not gonna add a second one yet. Let's go with that. Let's save that. Create subnet. Oh, I need to put something in there. Must be okay. So, let's see, 10.0.0.24. So yeah, in the course, it like, oh my god, I used to know this, right? But based on the number that you put over here, that tells you how many IPs are available for your subnet. So if you put 16, you get 65,000. But it's not within the address for the VPC. So we can do 30. We can do 28. Because with 32 only gives you one, but 28 gives you 16 IPs because it's reducing the amount. But if you do 24, it gives you 256. I need to go back and study that because getting into this part of AWS, it's going to be really, really useful to know how the subnet calculations work. Let's do a create subnet. All right, so our subnet is created. We have 251 IP addresses available because one of them is probably assigned to something or is reserved for something. Okay, so now let's go and try to create our EC2 instance in that VPC. All right, so let's go to so let's go to instance. Oops. And let's go to launch instance, and we're going to call it Terraform manual EC2 11/23 2020. Keep on saying 23 2026. My goodness. I'm all over the place. We'll use this one and we'll do a micro. We're doing nano. Key pair login. We'll go with, let's go with this one. And security group. Where do I set up the VPC? Hold on. Select existing security group. Not here. Oh, wait a second. Here, edit. Now, okay, so we need VPC, this one, and then subnet mask of that one. So that's the only subnet in there. And then auto assign public IP. How do we get into it if we do that? Okay. Anyways, is there a security group for it? So there is no security group. There's the default VPC security. We could use that, I guess. I need to create a new one. I'm gonna enable this just so I can make sure I can connect to it, right? But typically based on what you're using it for, like you might not want to enable that auto IP assign. All right, so we have that and I think we're good to go. Yeah, let's launch it, see what happens. So our instance is launched. And let's go here. This took us about 10 minutes to walk through creating the VPC, creating the subnet, and creating the EC2 instance. Now we have to wait for the instance to get started. So imagine if you had to do that for a bunch of different EC2 instances manually, right? We've seen how quickly we can go ahead and get EC2 instances started with the Terraform. But in order to create these VPCs, we want to make sure that we understand what we're doing it manually first. So create the VPC, you create the subnet, and then you go and you start, then you go and create the instance. All right. So that is our plan of attack. All right, instance is running, it's initializing. All right, refresh again. Still initializing. Okie dokie. So we have our public IP, or private IP. We have a public IP over here. If we, let's see what our security is before we do anything else. So we have inbound. We don't have any access to it. So we need to let's see. Check out the security group, and we do not have. Oh wait, do we? I don't know. Let's find out. Let's find out. So where is a terminal when you need it? So terminal, which we're going to be talking about on Wednesday's episode of Software Explorations, Concept and Overviews. We're going to be talking about the my most used Linux and terminal commands as a QA engineer. So if I do SSH, I just put in the, what the heck is that? No idea what that is. Oh, I know what that is. Okay. Let's go to here. Copy that. Are we able to access that? No, because that VPC, not VPC, that security group does not have the permissions for it. So let's go and edit inbound rules. That doesn't look right. Let's go to port 22. And we could do it from our own IP. That's the, so that doesn't look like my IP address. Let's see. All right. So let's go with. So wait a second. Inbound rules for incoming traffic allowed to reach. It should be able to. Hold on a second. SSH. Rules allows all IP addresses to access. Yeah, let me see something. All right. Anyways, let's do it like that for now, and we'll see what happens. All right. So we're here, and let's go here to that. If we go back to this, what happens? So the instance is up, but we're not getting. Let's see. So we know we've got our instance running, and it's running on that VPC, but public IPv4 for DNS. Let's see here. Private address here, public address there, internal, virtual private network. I want to say it's with the security group, but I could be wrong. Let's see. Security group, all outbound source TCP. Let me see. IAM rule. Let's see here. Yes, not that. And let's say we do SSH. AWS keys, and then we're gonna do SSH-I and TCR. So we're gonna. I chose the wrong one, but okay, that's fine. SSH-I TCR, and then we're gonna do EC2-user at. Not that one. It's gonna be. I lost it. 3. Tree. Let's take a look at the. Might be the access control list that's blocking it. Let's see. Something is blocking it. Let me see. Let's find out. Look at that. All in, all out. All right, so if we go here, and everything is set to deny, and that is weird. So let's add a new rule. We are going to add SSH port 22. And let's go with
Lunch break! Lunch break!
so let me bring it back. As soon as I get this to save, we will go on our lunch break. So let's say rule, I don't know, rule one, I don't know. And let's go with 76.109. .0.0. I don't know. And let's save that. See what happens. Now, if we go back over here, let's see what happens. You still can't connect to it. So our security is like tight, right? So we know the EC2 instance is up and running. Our VPC is set up, but something with this, I think something here is like blocking it. Let me see. All right, so, or we can just probably just remove the access control list altogether. Let's go here, here, and network traffic, Terraform, VPC. So are we able to edit this? Edit VPC settings. And let's see. Because that public IP should let it in. Let's see. Let's find out. Don't trust this. I think I'm gonna just delete it. Wonder if I can. 3 inbound, 2 outbound. That's what the outbound rules are. Because it's saying deny for everything. So let's see. What does ACL deny? Control traffic to subnets using ACL. An ACL has an inbound rule and outbound rule. Each rule can either allow or deny traffic. There is no additional charge for using network ACL. I am not reading that. Oh my goodness. All right. Let's see. I just try to delete it, because what's the worst that can happen, right? We just delete everything and restart over. So let's go ahead and delete network ACLs. Cannot be deleted. All right, let's take a break. We are going to take a break and we'll come back to this. And let's put up 5-minute break. That's not the right 5 minutes. That's the right 5 minutes. All right, cool. Oh, okay. So, yeah, here we are working through this. And let's see. And while we're on break, right? Let me say this. So Friday night, I was watching the watching with JT show, and was having a good time in the chat and everything like that. Then I got a notification that I got a new subscriber from, and I'll just put it up here to show appreciation.
I appreciate you.
Tech niche tips, right? So, and then guess what happened after that? A little bit later, I got a notification from LinkedIn that the person who runs Tech Niche Tips sent me a invitation to connect on LinkedIn. So I was like, oh, cool, very cool. And then I checked out their profile on LinkedIn, very cool stuff. And they do something in regards to like, I'm not gonna say it's like sales engineering, but maybe sales development, something to that extent, right? Very cool stuff. And browsing through their LinkedIn, browsing through their YouTube, and it's like, oh, this is pretty cool information that they share, and then they have guests to share information. Really cool stuff. So, but then, right, it gets even better. They had a live show yesterday where they were interviewing someone, like I think it's the co-founder of this organization called Techsgiving. The pun. We just went through Thanksgiving and it's Techsgiving. And I was tuning in, listening in, and they were sharing about an event that they're going to be having soon. It was really cool stuff. But when I was, because I was busy building a deck yesterday, so I wasn't able to. I wanted to like be able to contribute more to the conversation. I would have called in, just didn't have the capacity to. But when I wrote in the chat, and he said that, oh yeah, Tech Coach Ralph is hi, like, shout out to you, yada yada yada, and I believe he's a QA engineer. I'm like, now that is someone who cares about their craft. They care about their connections and their collaborations and all that, because just like the way that we came across each other was through the live stream that Pocket Watching with JT was doing. And, I sent a super chat, he sent a super chat. And then right after that, I get him as a subscriber. And then I get the connection request on LinkedIn, and he had already went looking through my my LinkedIn profile and all of that stuff. So I was like, and the fact that like he was able to mention it on the show, I was like, man, that's pretty cool. That someone would go and like all that like research into someone that never spoken to, never met, just saw them put a super chat on a YouTube show on a Friday night, and now have a new connection. And I do look forward to connecting with him and working with him. We'll figure something out. But I just thought that was like really really cool. And I like whenever I connect with new people, I try to look them up and find out about them as well, because I'm always looking to see like, okay, how can I add value? How can I be of assistance? And like that's how I met Don. He sent me I think it was a comment on a video, right? And then we connected, and we've been working together, talking and collaborating and stuff like that. Socks is through a Discord. It's Andrew is through a Slack group. Like the first time we actually got on the video calls, we were helping someone who was looking for some interview pointers and for resume review and stuff like that. And we hopped on a Google Meet call to help him out.
Back to work, chop chop, let's go. Come on, get a move on. Back to work, back to work, back to work.
So just the it's really cool how you come across different people. and how much you actually have in common with, like, I'll hear people say that, oh, you know, like, tech is this, tech is that, boring, blah, blah, blah. And you know, there's not people who look like, you know, whatever. But I'm meeting a lot of people and we are doing amazing things. So I don't know. I think that it's all about perspective. And I look forward to working with anybody, everybody, and go from there. So before we get back to work, let's take a look at what Don is. I mean, I'm definitely going to skip that comment. And he said, don't get bougie when you get famous, bro. Now, I'm bringing everybody to the top with us, all right? As long as, yeah, you know how we work, right, Don? We work hard. As long as you work hard, I'm on your team, you're on my team, all right? And Don says, if you build it, they will come. That is facts. You know, I got a comment the other day. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Like, cause you don't know who's watching you, right? And I got a comment, and it said, "I'm so glad this channel is growing. I'm so glad this channel is growing so well. Great to see a channel get the recognition they deserve, right?" And honestly,
I appreciate you.
that meant a lot to me, you know, because I just talk about the things that I like to talk about. I like to explore software, but you know, when you don't have like something scheduled, something committed, you're just going to push it out. And when you say, all right, this is what it's going to be, and you pretty much hold yourself, it's kind of holding yourself accountable, because it's like, all right, I scheduled it. And even though we might start a little bit later, it's going to get done. Right. And we do it. And now, you get to meet all these amazing people, and you get to share stuff that you like to do, stuff that you like to learn about. Because stuff that I need, like, I might get the most benefit out of it, right? Because I'm learning so much, I'm meeting so many cool people. But you know, at the same time, trying to add more and more value into your life, because maybe someone wants to get into Terraform. I was working with my data engineer yesterday, and so proud of the progress that they're making. And you know, we're just going to keep pushing forward. We are going to keep pushing forward, and the things that Don and I are working on, it's going to be breathtaking. All right. So with that being said, let's get back to work. All right. So go over here and
Let's go!
all right. So we couldn't delete it because it's associated with this VPC, right? So with that, all right. So let's go and kill everything. We are going to kill this deny thing is bothering me. Wonder if I could, because if I edit it, it's like to have both. Let me see. All right, I'm just gonna kill everything. So let's go to EC2 first, because I know the EC2 is working, but we just can't get to it. And I have a feeling that it's because of the access control. So if we go to here and we do terminate. So, let me talk about this real quick, right? The energy drink will actually be called, where can I move this? There we go. It's actually going to be called Blood of My Enemies, right? I already have this all mapped out, right? It's going to be called Blood of My Enemies, because when I'm in jiu-jitsu and they're like, after however many we call them roles, but sparring that we do. And it's like, oh, how much do you have? Like, how do you have that much energy to keep going? And I say, like, I'm like, it's Red Bull and the blood of my enemies, but mostly the Red Bull, you know. So I'm just gonna call the energy drink blood of my enemies, right? What do you think about that, Don? Blood of my enemies energy drink. All right. So our instance is terminated. And let's go to EC2. Not EC2, VPC. We're going to create another VPC and we are going to delete. We're going to delete this VPC and then we're going to create another one. We're not going to assign a access to it. So delete that. And it's going to want to delete our subnet as well as our, or not. Okay, so whatever, delete. And we have that done. So you know what? Let's actually take a look at this VPC, right? So this VPC is going through this routing table. It has an ACL, a main network ACL. Let's take a look at this. Oh, why didn't we think about this before, huh? So look at this one, and it has the same thing, right? So here's an idea. We are going to create the exact same VPC as our default one has, all right? Stop using AI to come up with my energy drink name. It's blood of my enemies. It's already settled. Because then I can say, oh, what gives you so, like, how do you have so much energy? Oh, it's just off the blood of my enemies, right? How do you like that? It's just off the blood of my enemies. All right. Right, so we have that. So let's take a look. Why did we think about that? Let's look at our VPC, see how that's set up, and then we can build off that. So 172. So this one's using 172, but we can use the 132, and then we have our VPC, and then we have our subnets of US East 1. We have our routing table, network connections. What is this network connection thing? Internet routes to 6 public subnets, 0 private subnets. What is that? Let's take a look at this. This is what we call software explorations, folks. What does BOME stand for? Oh, blood of my. Okay, no, I mean that's gonna be for the beer. That's for the beer that neither of us drink, right? So there goes that. Boom, vodka. Manage tags. Let's see. Internet. I don't know what this does actually. Okay. Anyways, so let's take a look at our VPC. So we want to do 16. Oh, I like the way you think, Don. I like that. I like kombucha. All right, so we have our VPC. We're going to do it by 16. And so the routing table is actually fine. Okay. Subnets. So let's take a look at the subnets. There's a bunch of them in there. And we go here, take a look at one of the subnets, and it's by 20. Arizona, East 1 AZ, US East 1 AZ, availability zone. That one. The only difference I see is like how I put these. So I'm gonna just do it like they do. All right. And we'll see what happens. So let's do it, because then we can start like playing around with it, because I think we need to learn a lot more about VPCs and Terraform Livestream. Let's do TCR Terraform Livestream. Manual to 11/26/2023. And let's do 10.0.0.0/16. And okay, whatever. And so let's create this VPC. Then we'll do the subnets with /20. So now we have the network ACL, which is just like the other one, so that can stay. And now we go to subnet. We're going to do /20 for the subnet. See if we can get anything done with that. So we're going to say create a subnet. Select the VPC, this one, and we're going to do TCR Terraform Livestream subnet manual -2 or 2-11/26/2023. And choose over 39. So we'll do US East 1A. And here we shall go with 20. Okay. And let's create the subnet. So now if we look at our VPC and we click on our VPC, it looks like the other one, right? But it doesn't have a network connection. So the other one has the network connection. But this one doesn't. So let's try to create a network connection then. Let's see. Was that the issue? Action. So if we go to, we go back to VPCs. See, and this is what I call software explorations, right? Because never really got familiar with VPCs before, but we're just like navigating around so we can get a better understanding of how it works and how we can at least recreate it. And once we can recreate it, then we can know what we're doing, you know? So we go here. This is under internet gateways. So if we create a new one, and if we call this one TCR VPC Livestream or Terraform, IG manual to 11/26/23. Create internet gateway. Now that it's created, what do you do with it? Attach to VPC. and we'll put it on this one. So now if we go back to our VPCs and we look at this one, it should pretty much look like the other one, right? Let's take a look at the default one. The only difference is a link to here to there. So if we look at this one, is there a link on that one? I don't see that link. That's the only tricky part about it. 0 internet routes to 0 public subnets. And if you look at this one says 0 internet routes to public subnet 16 or 6. Internet routes to 6 public subnets. 6 subnets associations, including two routes, including local. Let's see here. Oh, what is this? Destination, target. Okay, let's try that then. So we need to add something to the routes. Okay, let's give it a try. Let's give it a try. We are exploring like crazy today. Because this was definitely not part of the course, right? So let's go to here. And we're going to go to edit route and add route. Hold on. Let's look at this again. Let's take a look at how this is configured. So this one has 000 associated with this. And ours is LGW06. Okay, cool. So if we go here, target, internet gateway, LGW, okay. And then here, I guess we can let's add this for now, and then we'll edit it to the range of our IP address if that works, all right? So we have it configured just like the default one, right? Cool. So this should say 1 public subnet. All right. Woo. Let's see what happens. I don't want to go device farm, but farm is pretty cool as we've seen in the past. So let's go to EC2. So let's create a new instance. Because my only goal is to see if I can launch, like if I can connect to that instance in this VPC in this subnet. All right. EC2. So TCR, Terraform, EC2, Livestream, manual to 11/26/2023. All right, cool. So we have that, and we'll click with the default. Let's go with a nano and key pair of. I don't see it. Maybe it's one down there. All right, connect with that one, and so we are. I guess you can create a security group. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, these should be fine. Go with the latest one. I think they all have the same configurations. but whatever. You can always change that too. So we do want the edit. We don't want the default. We want ours, and then we want the subnet of the subnet that we created. And the select security group is not compatible with the subnet specified. Oh, okay. So let's see which is okay. So we'll go with the default one then. And interface. I don't think we did anything with that. So we don't need that. And I think we are good to go. So let's see what happens. Part 2. All right, the instance is created. Okay, let's click on this one. Oops. All right, click on this one. And if we copy, well, it's getting started. I didn't create it. Let me get a public IP for this. Network. Or let me see if I do connect, what happens. This doesn't have a public IP. This doesn't have a public IP. Could I do that? I didn't think I could do that. EC2 instance connect. Connect using EC2. See if I go here then. So, I didn't think I could do that, but let's find out. Let's find out. Okay, so here, and we're gonna go here. See what happens. Nope, not gonna work. I can already see it. SSH. Locate your private key. Run this command. Connect to your instance
Lunch break!
using the private
Lunch
IP.
break!
Let me try to give it a public IP address. Because I've never connected with the private IP. I guess I could. Let's see here. Everything's set up. Let's go to. Let's stop the instance real quick before we go on break. Let's see. And we are going to actions, manage instance. And that's not the one. So we go here. Not that one. Let's go to not security. network interface. I guess they call it network. Okay, so let's go here. So we have the VPC subnet security group. Let's see what the security group has. The security group says all traffic, but let's go here and let's go to add rule port SSH, and let's just do this, right? Just to see, because that's what we normally do with our security groups. So we do that. Let's start the instance again. And well, what? That's not what we wanted to happen. So Terraform. Oops. Instance state start instance. All right, cool. Oof. Break time. This one is challenging, but well worth it. And the reason that I really want to do the VPC is because, and Don, you might be able to have an idea about this too, right? Because I want to be able to integrate the use of AWS Device Farm to run automated tests. However, the Team City agents that launch the test are located in a VPC on US East 1. AWS Device Farm is only available in US West 2, I believe, like where in Oregon. So I'm like, all right, maybe I can use VPC linking to link our VPC that has our Team City servers to the AWS Device Farm, because our stuff is like behind a firewall and stuff, or not a firewall, but yeah, well, it's behind a VPN, right? So I want to connect them because that way we won't have to be managing a bunch of manually created Selenium nodes, right? Selenium grid nodes. So that's one of the reasons I'm really interested in the VPC right now, so I can get a better understanding of how I can, and it's called VPC peering, VPC, peering, to have two VPCs talk to each other. So this is running, and let's go to here. And let's try to connect again. Let's see what happens. Still not connecting, because if it was going to connect, it would have been automatically. Not playing nice. Networking. All right, so let's try this networking thing. All right, cool. Anyways, yeah, so that is why I have such an interest in the VPCs right now. Plus, it's part of the course. And when you're like, if you're going to be using AWS for DevOps, Terraform, cloud engineering, all that stuff, you're going to need to know about VPCs. And whether it's on AWS or Microsoft Azure or Google Cloud Platform, whatever the case is, you're going to be running into VPCs, or maybe they call them virtual private networks on that platform. So you're going to need to know it. So I'm just putting myself in the right position, Don says, new content, write all this in AWS CDK. Well, I will once I figure out how to do it manually first, right? Jeez. And then I figure it out in Terraform, and then I figure out what the AWS CDK is, and then I can do it in AWS CDK. But, it is what it is. So we are just learning and cruising along. let's see what's going on the mean streets of LinkedIn while we have a few minutes, right? Let's see. Oh, bye. Oh, my. Just pulled up LinkedIn and a friend of mine, like we're still in contact. I used to work with him 15 years ago, maybe actually maybe like 16, 18 years ago. He is the top guy when it comes to iOS development and stuff like that. And he has an amazing setup going. I'm gonna reach out to him, right? And once he gives me his YouTube channel and he creates courses and all that stuff, once he gives me that information, I'm gonna share it with you because to me he is the top Apple iOS person. Like he's amazing in web development, and he's created apps for sports teams and stuff like that. So I know he's a big Raiders fan, I believe. I don't know if that changed since, but but yeah, he says he has his new setup done for YouTube and courses. Switch to a 2-camera setup as well as switching my cameras, and his light. Like I'm always fighting with my lighting, but his lighting looks absolutely stunning. Jesus Christ. Okay, gonna find out. I'm gonna reach. Let me send him a message right now. Just say.
Get a move on. Back to work. Chop, chop. Let's go. Come on, get a move on. You're back to work. Back to work. Back to work.
Asking him the YouTube channel right now. All right, so we shall find out. And once I get that information, because he is the top G in iOS and web development, and I don't know what he's going to be talking about, but I know it's going to be fire. Really, really cool guy. Known him for 16, 18 years now. So, yeah. Yep. It's going to be amazing. And all right, cool. So I was gonna look for jobs, and then I got distracted by this amazing revelation that I just had. So once I get it, I'm gonna post it. All right, and we're gonna talk about it. And at one point, I'm gonna bring him up on our stream when he's ready to go, and I will. We're another person to collaborate with. I've been looking forward to this for a very, very long time. All right. Yeah. So, well, there goes our break time. Let's get back to it. Close out LinkedIn and let's go back to here. Okay. So let me try to get a public IP. Let's see. Let's put our time up.
It's time to
To assign additional public IPv4s, you must allocate elastic IPs. I guess we gotta do that. I thought I would get it. All right, let's do that. Allocate US East 1. Make sure we tear those down as well. And we got that. So if we go to instances and we go to the running one and we go to networking, manage IP addresses, and I guess I could have just said assign new IP, but whatever. 10.20. What happened to the IP I created? Let's go to elastic IP. Let's go here. Oh, there you go, right here. Okay. So let's take this IP and let's put it in here. All right, then copy. Copy. So much for that. So 44.197. Okay. So that's not, yeah, let's see. To assign additional IP for this instance, you must allocate and associate them with the instance or its network interface. Thought that was what I was trying to do, but apparently not. Okay, so action, network. Let's see. I'm going right back to where I was. Associate address. There we go. So we take that and we take that and allow the elastic IP address to be reassociated with this network. Yes, I don't know. Let's go. All right, so here we are now. If we go back to our instances, here's the thing, right? Because I see so many people, they want to become a cloud engineer or cybersecurity person. I mean, they just say cybersecurity, but there are like so many different routes in cybersecurity, right? Like we reviewed the identity and access management roles a couple of weeks ago, right? So there's so many different routes, right? And thinking that you're just gonna get there in 6 months and you're gonna be making $150,000 a year in 6 months, like this is my second week trying to figure out this VPC stuff, right? And it's especially like, and I've been working with AWS for like 10 years now, right? Not like AWS like certified or anything like that, but I'm able to get what I need done. But usually I just go in there, create an EC2 instance, it does all that stuff for me, right? So as we dig deeper, it's like now we're working on the transmission, trying to figure out how this stuff works, how to set it up ourselves so we can push ourselves further. And I'm struggling a lot with it, right? So imagine somebody who's like brand new, whether you're coming in from like trucking or something like that, or construction or whatever the case may be, right? And you think you're just gonna like pick this up just like that. There's gonna be a huge learning curve. So take your time and don't get discouraged when you see that it's not gonna be just like, oh, I just picked it up off day one. I'm trying to like see me struggling through this. So, and I'm pretty familiar with this stuff. So, okay, here we go. All right, so let's say yes. Boom, 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 boom. We are in the building.
We the best.
Yes, we are, because why is that? Oh, wrong screen. It's not going to show up here, but it'll definitely show up here.
And all we do is win, man. You know that.
We are winning. So let's go back to our shared screen. So we are able to get in via SSH. And Don says, learn multi-tenant patterns for AWS to avoid new VPC. It is costly. I will make a note of that. Where is my Notion when I need it? So let me go make a note of that. And listen up. All right, let's do it like this. Listen up. When Don speaks, take notes. All right, because he knows all this stuff like the back of his hand. Right, even that little pimple that he has on the back of his hand, he is very familiar with that, and he knows those, like he knows this stuff. Whether we're talking about these bug bounties and these or AWS stuff or whatever, like load testing, he knows this stuff. So when he says something, I pull out my Notion and I write it down and I take notes because it's valuable information. So learn multi-tenant patterns for AWS to avoid new VPC. It's costly, right? Making a note of that so I can look into it. All right, cool. Thank you so much, Don. You know what? I'm gonna put it like this.
I appreciate you.
I surely do. All right. So let's get back to this. Oops. All right, cool. And we are back at it again. All right, so we're connected. So we were able to do it with here. We weren't able to do it with the private IP as they said for some weird reason, but because if I click connect, right, and I go to SSH client, so now it gives me the public one. But before I was saying doing it with the private one, so I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. But we got that. So now we can move on to creating our VPC with Terraform. All right. So what time is it? 4 o'clock. We'll probably have another session after this one. So let's go, and I'm going to have my VPC configuration here. So here's what I think was before we go into Terraform, right? This is what I think was the part that was tripping us up, right? So VPC. I believe that right here. I think it was right here, right? The internet gateway for when we're looking at because I don't think it was the IP range. I think it was right here. We didn't have, like on our first attempt, we didn't have the network connection, right? So I think when we connected the route table to the network connection, that's when it did something, right? So I am going to leave this up, and we're going to try to recreate it in our code. All right, so let's swoop over. And let me see, take a quick look at this real quick. All right, so this is Terraform. We have our Terraform state. We need our instance. And let's see here. Let me see. All right, nice. He is working on his audio and video. Here we go. Right here we go. I told you guys that he is the best at this stuff, right? I just pulled up his YouTube channel. Right now, he said he's currently working on his audio and video stuff, but the channel is Design to Swift UI. And he already has 1.24 subs. Awesome. 1.24 thousand subs. 1,000. All right. And good stuff out there. All right. So amazing. Check it out. I'm gonna just drop it. Design to Swift UI by Craig Clayton, my homeboy and expert in Apple and stuff like that. Apple Swift UI design, right? So boom, there you go. It is in the chat. Go ahead and check out the channel if you are interested in that type of stuff. And I will be talking to him at some point. Cool stuff. Cool stuff. Would love to interview with him. So there we go. All right, cool. So let's keep going a bit. All right, so here we are. Here we are. All right, so last time we did. So that's this. And where is our Terraform state? So VPCs, all right? So let's take a look at that. So we did TCR VPC. Okay, so we have our VPC created and then our subnet. So TCR VPC, name TCR Terraform VPC. And then we have this, and then we did something for the security group where we had data, AWS IP ranges, security group, 443. All right, so now we have our instances, and we commented this out. So let's put this back in. And from security group from United States, subnet, AWS subnet. Where is our subnet? Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull up the ones from the course as well, so that we have a good understanding. Oh, so this should be E here from United States, AWS security group. So if we go back over here, maybe you can't find it. It might have to be in these. I wonder if there's any import statements. Let's see. Yes. I was wondering if I could import. Let me see. Can you import into Terraform? Let's do a quick Google search. Let's see. Nah. All right, cool. I mean, maybe you can, but all right. So from United. So let me see if I just move this one level up. All right. So here we go. All right. So here we go. Here we go. Here we go. What about the VPC? All right. So give me a second so I can pull this up. And put them side by side, the one from the course and the one that minimize this, minimize that, and let's go to back over here. All right, so we had default VPC. resource. So let's pull up our VPC file. TCR VPC tags. Okay. AWS region A, and then we go to demo 5, security group. Let's look at our security group. So they're using US West 1. We're using US East 1, EU West 1. All right, US EC2. All right, AWS security group. All right, from United States. And all right, 443 protocol TCP 2 port. All right, all the same. I don't know why we comment that out, but let's say we have data AWS IP ranges, and we're going to say US EC2 dot CDR blocks, and then 016 for the security group. Why did that have 50? Let's change it to like how they have it. We need to get like this is all with the subnet stuff. We need to re-familiarize ourselves with that. So maybe I'll do a something on subnets, right? Because I need to relearn it. So we're here, and let's look at theirs here, and so security group AWS European. Go back to our instance. VPC security group. All right, let me look. So what I'm gonna look over here in our as a reference to. I'm gonna go like I'm going to be creating a new, like I'm creating a new EC2, so I can see what, like where I choose the I want to see where I choose the VPC. So we're here. When you do network settings, you choose the VPC. So let's Google. Let's Google Terraform VPC. Assign VPC to EC2 or EC2 to VPC. All right, so medium's gonna
Lunch break.
play.
Lunch break.
Let's see if we can find this real quick before we go to break, right? Let me change my search maybe. Terraform EC2 VPC. That's not the one I wanted, but let's see if we do that. Let's take a look at this. So, all right, so this is an example of EC2 setting, how to set up a simple EC2 instance in a VPC. So we have all of that. So so AWS security group forwarder, that's the name forwarder. VPC ID module dot, we have a module, but we can probably just give it a name then. We're not using a module. Or, so it's under the security group, it's happened. So if we look at our security group over here, AWS resource security group, VPC ID. AWS subnet. So subnet ID, where did they assign the subnet? Module AMI, module VPC. Module VPC. Module VPC ID. Ingress, all right. And then 22. And then the key pair, fine. And then over here has subnet ID. So there's a VPC file apparently. But either way, in the resource for the instance, we need to have our AMI, our subnet ID, our key name, our resource. Huh. All right. Well, let's go ahead and start it up. Change this to nano. Subnet ID, TCR. So AWS subnet. Where's our subnet? So that's the security group. So AWS subnet. So we have VPC subnet, VPC ID. So it's going to assign the subnet to the VPC. And then we're going to do, close this one a bit or whatever. So we have all of these. Then I should run the script, but security group, VPC. All right, well, let's give it a try. Let's give it a try. So let's go to terminal, Terraform plan. Well, from United States, we're calling the index value for n parameter must not be greater than the length of the list. All right, so let's go with 20, I guess. Try that again. Oh, 16. What the heck? Not be the length of this. So AWS IP address ranges, EC2, US EC2. I know I was saying that. AWS security group. So let's Google this error. And let's go here. So if we look at this, should create a group. Alright. Tested with latest. Alright. Documentation for slice function notes that the return an error if either index is outside the bounds of valid indices for the given list. From the error you're giving, it looks like you're trying to split a list in the first 50 elements and the rest. If this input list has fewer than 50 elements, then the Terraform is behaving as designed. You may want to try using the max function in combination with your IP list length. That might have been the issue too, but let's comment it out and see what happens, right? So what we'll do, we'll create something, and then we'll compare what's created with. So we're going to compare what's created with what is working manually, and then we'll see what's missing, and then we'll make the necessary adjustments. See if we get any errors though. All right, so incorrect attribute value type on instance TF line, AWS instance TCR example. AWS security group from United States is a string. Inappropriate value for VPC security group IDs. So instances, line 17. So if we go here, VPC ID. This is coming from AWS security group. And then from United States. There's no ID there. VPC. Inappropriate value for VPC security group IDs. Inappropriate value. Set of string required. Look at this. Default VPC. So if we look back at the HashiCorp one, well, I guess we could just copy this one instead. Over here, we're just going to throw that in there. And let's go back. So subnet ID. So VPC security group ID. I don't see them having that in the resource instance. So what we'll do, so it has subnet ID. And it has AMI. Oh, and I have subnet ID here. There is no security group ID. But inside of our security group, we have port. Let's do this as port 22 so we can connect to with that. And let's go to name. So let's put a VPC ID on this one. VPC ID. Okay, cool. That's what we want. And we shall over here comment this out. We have our subnet, we have our AMI, we have our instance type, we have our count, which we probably don't need. We have our key pair, key name, subnet. Anything else? All right, let's see what happens. Let's go to Terraform plan. Okay, cool. So that did something. So what this is going to do, it's going to use that. I don't know if it's going to create a public IP though. Let's see. But maybe we don't need it to create a public IP because, or I don't know. But let's see if it gets this done, right? Yeah, let's see if let's see what happens, right? Let's give it a run. Whatever. Let's give it a run, and then while it's running, we'll be on break. And I'll be able to monitor it. Apply. So we're gonna do a Terraform apply and give it a run and break time. Whew. So that was something, right? Gotta type in yes. That's something. Or it failed. We'll get back to it, but we're on break, and at least now, if we have to get back to this VPC next week, we'll know what we need to jump. We can jump straight into the Terraform part because we know how to get it to work manually. And once you get it to work manually, now we just like, okay, how do we automate it and get it so we don't have to like always do this manual stuff? Because when I was doing these things about setting up Docker and an AWS instance to set up the Selenium grid, that's time consuming. That video was like maybe an hour long, maybe hour and a half. But doing it through Terraform, once we get the script running, like you saw us able to set up 2 different EC2 instances and with the grid running. So that was pretty cool. So we're gonna keep we'll do one more session after this. So we'll keep chugging along to see how far we can get. And then we will move on with our lives. All right. But it has been an amazing week. I hope that everyone had an amazing Thanksgiving. And I hope you didn't spend too much money on Black Friday because I do not want to hear you come back and say,
I'm in a bind, Nate.
Nope, don't want to hear that. I will just put my headphones on and keep it moving. All right. Yeah, let's see. Let's see here. So, how is your LinkedIn going? What are you do? What do you do on LinkedIn? I know if you're watching this channel, you 99% chance you have a LinkedIn, right? So, what do you do on LinkedIn? You know what I mean? What is it that you do on LinkedIn? Do you use it to? And here's the question. I have a question. What job boards do you use? Where do you go and apply for jobs? All right. Do you use LinkedIn? Do you use Glassdoor? Is Monster still around? Let me check. Monster.com. It's still there. Oh my God. I used to use Monster like 15 years ago to apply for jobs. More than that, maybe 20 years ago, I was applying for jobs on Monster. Well, not 20. That might be exaggerating. But it was a long time ago. It was like around 2000, almost 20 years ago, 2004, 2005. I was applying for jobs on LinkedIn. Don says, I stalk old bosses and hack their new products. Oh my God, I am so thankful I never fired you, Don. Jesus. Look at that. He deserves this. You know what? There's only one old boss that I don't really care much for. All right. All the other ones that I had were pretty cool. But yeah, anyways. Yeah, I'm looking at Monster right now. Let's take a look at Monster. I haven't been on Monster in that long, right? They still have stuff. Let's see. Let's look for a job on Monster real quick. Let's look for the favorite one of all time. Ready for this? Ready for this one? Manual QA tester. And let's go with remote. And let's go with search. Return of the Monster. Manual QA engineer, Boston, Massachusetts, actively hiring. The Hollister Group. So it's a contracting agency apparently. So our client is based in Boston, Massachusetts, and is looking for a remote manual QA engineer for 6 months contract. The ideal candidate for this role is self-motivated, analytical problem solver who thrives in fast-paced, dynamic as always.
Move on, back to work, chop chop, let's go. Come on, get a move on. Back to work, back to work, back to work.
You gotta love those dynamic people, those dynamic analytical problem solvers with multiple concurrent projects and tasks. This position requires strong experience in software development and testing and well-rounded familiarity with QA software tools and methodologies. How much experience do you need? A bachelor's or a master's degree in computer science, electrical and computer engineering, mathematics, information technologies, or information management. 3 years of experience in software quality assurance and development with work on entire product lifecycle. Experience with Agile Scrum methodologies, API and mobile testing, and automation. Wait, you just said this is a manual QA engineer position, but you want experience with test automation? Sorry, my manual friends. Strong database skills with hands-on SQL query writing and back-end validation. Detail-oriented, likes to solve problems and seeks many solutions before settling on the best. Strong analytical and organizational skills. So, here's what I'm going to say about this real quick, right? You are not, and I repeat, you are not going to get what you're looking for a manual QA engineer for a 6 months contract. Like, I'll tell you this, in order just to start to be able to contribute valuable information and stuff like that, it's going to take you about like 2 months, 3 months. And by the time they start doing that, it's going to be the contract's going to be up, right? The contract's going to be up. And you want a bachelor's or a master's degree for a contract position for 6 months? 3 years of experience? Jeez. I know I talk about the hiring process and stuff like that, but at the same time, some of these qualifications and expectations are a bit, just a teeny wee bit unrealistic. But it is what it is. But guess what? I'm still gonna have somebody apply to this. I am gonna have somebody apply to this nonetheless, because the people that I train I get them very, very familiar with the agile process, especially your daily stand-ups, which I believe is the most important meeting. I had a it was like a Scrum interview, like, to talk about Scrum and promote it. And the Scrum Master asked me, like, so what is your favorite meeting ceremony? And I said, well, this one is my favorite because to me it's the most important because we do it every single day and we know how the project is doing. It is the daily stand-up. You guys have no idea how important the stand-up is. Like, you think it might be about the retrospectives and the plannings and the refinements and the sprint reviews and demos, but nope, to me it is the stand-up because that's how you know what everyone is doing. And it's who needs help, you know what's the status of a project, if we're falling behind, if we're moving ahead, what you need to do. So my favorite is the stand-up. So, and I have my tech barbarians. They're supposed to give a detailed update on a daily basis, but we're working there. We are certainly working there, right? And if they don't shape up, I might have to have Don start stalking them. Who knows? Anyways, let's move on to this crazy job description, which is only for 6 months. That it requires so much. To me, a 6 months contract, you should definitely be looking for entry level, not that much experience. And, but trust me, if they are a product of Tech Coach Ralph, they will be more than qualified than someone with a bachelor's or master's degree in computer science, electrical and computer engineering, mathematics, information technologies, or information management. Working with me for 1 to 2 months is like having 5 years of experience. Right? Because I have them go into Docker and Git and GitHub and all that good stuff. So, check it out. Come in, let me call on my boy real quick.
You either win with us or you watch us win.
Yep. Come on with me and Don. All right. So let's go to full screen before we go into our last segment for the day. And Don says, wish there was an AI tool that could apply for this job automatically. I would pay big bucks for a tool like that. Hey, you never know. You never know what's in the pipeline, what's in the works. All right. So, because maybe there will be some type of tool where you can automatically apply to jobs on LinkedIn, on Monster, on Glassdoor, on Indeed. Apparently, people still use Indeed, just like they still use Monster. But I remember when the Monster logo used to be different. At least they kept their same colors. But maybe there would be some type of tool where you can just go out there and apply for a bunch of jobs for you. And who knows, right? So we are looking. Let's see if we can find anything that can do that for us. All right. Let's see what we can find. And then lastly, Don. Oops. Stop the show. We have Mr. Socks in the building. What's going on, Socks? I already announced earlier today that we are going to have cybersecurity Q&A night on December 12th officially at 8 p.m. But, I like to get the party started a little bit early so you can join me around 7:15, 7:30 to kick off our very second of our monthly cybersecurity Q&A night, right? So mark it on your calendars. I'm going to schedule the stream between today and tomorrow so you can already hit the notification bell. So when we go live that night, you can be there. And, maybe Don might show up to cybersecurity night. I don't know. I haven't spoken to him about it yet. But if you thought it was fun the other night when Don and Socks were talking about the crazy things that they do, imagine you put them together for cybersecurity night. It will be lit. Just like Socks said, it's gonna be lit. Yeah.
Let's go!
All right. And Don said, whoever wrote that job requirements never did QA. And guess what? Guess what, Don? They are probably, you know what? ISTQB certified squared. All right, that was not nice. That was not nice. Unnecessary. And Donna also said, actually, Indeed just beefed up with their machine learning team. We need to see what they can accomplish with this new team. Oh, I did not know that. I take it back. So maybe Indeed is the place to apply. But I heard like, have you heard there's a lot of scamming going on Indeed? Like a lot of scam jobs and stuff? Because like a lot of people I talk to them like, oh, where are you applying? Oh, Indeed. Oh, where are you applying? Oh, Indeed. And then it's like, a couple of weeks later, I think it might be a scam. And I'm like, so maybe their machine learning team can get rid of the scammers and, not get these fake paychecks or these fake checks to buy equipment from God knows who and God knows where. Like Don, if you saw the check that they sent to buy the equipment, it was like, what in the world is this? Like, it was bad. And Don says scammers are using it to steal P2. What's P2? Don, I'm not my cybersecurity lingo is not the best. I'm still learning from you and Socks. But yeah. Anyways, let me get into this last segment so we can wrap up our Sunday, go have some Sunday dinner, and do whatever it is that you do on a Sunday. But I am looking forward to the next 2 weeks where I get to hang out with Socks, and hopefully Don can join us and Don can come up on a show one of these days. Unless Don wants to come up today. I don't know, Don. You want to come up today? Because I will end the show right now and bring you up. Personally identifiable information. Oh, okay. PII is personally identifiable information. You learn something new every day. That's what I'm talking about.
Let's get it.
All right. Let's see. And Sock says, yeah, Don. All right. So, I'm going to start the next segment, but if Don wants to come up, I will stop and we can pick it up next week. And, we can have a quick chat before we wrap it up for our Sunday. But, it's up to him. I don't know if his camera's working. I don't know what he's doing right now, but just dropping it out there. If you want to come up, let me know in the chat and I will drop the link for you, Don. Let's go to our screen here and let's do our last one. I'll put the 20 minutes up, but I will wrap it up in a heartbeat to bring Don up here. All right, so we got an error saying creating EC2 VPC error, create VPC HTTP response to status code 400. API missing parameter either C should be provided. I thought I had that. So let's go to VPC here. So they want it in the security group. Let me see something. See. List of strings. So if we look at this VPC, right? Let's see. Let's see here. AWS. All right, so we have our subnets. We have our. So if I go here, let's see if I can just go to resource and then CIDR. Oh, this is inside of tags, that's why. CIDR block. So what we're going to do, we are going to look at our VPCs here. And it has, all right, so this is the default one. So if I go to my VPC and I go to I didn't delete the other one, did I? Okay, so if I go to this one, and so let's do CIDR block. And then, okay, so we do, all right, so that's weird. They don't have it in their thing. All right, so 10.0.0.0/16. So we have our CIDR block. And so let's try to run it again. Terraform apply. See what happens. So actually, let's do now. Let's take a look at our security group now, or not our. Let's look at not our security group. Let's look at our subnet. So this is our subnet with our CIDR block. Let's see. Or maybe it should be in here. Oh, wait a second. So this is 10.0.0.0/16. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just going to recreate this as I have. So whatever I have in the manual VPC, I'm gonna put that in the Terraform VPC, right? So we just did. So I added the CIDR block that we have in our manual one. I added it in the resource for the VPC, right? So now I am going to go to the subnet. And I'm just like, because we tried it a bunch of a few different ways, right? But I'm like, it just hit me like, well, why don't we just go through it and see what we have over there, and we just do the same thing, automated, right? So we have in our subnet, I'm looking at our subnet here, and IPv4 CDR. So let's say here we have. So we have CIDR block again, and that's going to be 10.0.0.0/20. All right. And then, so now if you look at our, so we go over here and we look at our VPC. US East 1 A. We got a subnet for US East 1 A. And then, or let's give it a name of TCR. Let's give it a better name. So let's go with TCR VPC Terraform. I'm over here, Terraform 11/26/2023. And then this one I'm going to call TCR VPC Terraform 11/26/2023. We got that. Is there anything else? So now move back over here, and we're looking at our subnet. Let me see, route. So let's go to, I wonder if it's going to create the route table automatically. I think it did. But we want, I don't think I didn't have to do anything with the network ACL. But we did have to do, which I think that internet gateway was a problem. So let's see if we do. Let me see if I do resource, internet, AWS, internet gateway. And then we're going to call that TCR VPC Terraform IG 11/26/2023. And then we're going to open that up. And we are going to, what did we do in here? So, oh, sorry. I created the resource for the internet gateway over here. And I think all you have to do is create it. All right, so all we have to do is create it. And now we need to go to we get this created. So I'm gonna fix the names real quick. So IG, so this one is gonna be called, oh, so it should be name. Let's see. Name equals TCR VPC. Let's call it the same thing as a tag. So that. And let's call this TCR. Let's go like that. And then, actually, no, this can just be like this. Oh, Don said send the link. Hold on, let me get it up and ready. So this is gonna be cool. Getting it ready. Give me a second. Intro. Make sure the right camera is on. Video, next go. And audio is correct. And we get the link. The link is in the chat for Dawn to come up. All right. So we got all that. I think we're let me just add in subnet over here and VPC over here. And I'm gonna put 26 over here. All right. So now I'm gonna try to, the only thing I'm not sure about is the internet gateway. So if I do so, let me see. Well, Don is here. So we are going to table. Actually, I'm gonna run it, and then I'm going to see. We'll see after we talk to Don, see what happens. All right. So Terraform apply, run that, and if it gives it an error, then too bad, so sad. But if it works, then cool. Well, something's happening. So let's go talk to Don real quick. Let me see. My mic is on and my camera is on over here. And let's bring them up. What's up, Don? Let me stop the timer as well. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you loud and clear. Let me stop the timer and take it off the screen. Do you want to be on camera? Do you want to be on screen? Not yet.
I don't know.
It's up to you.
Yeah.
You let me know. I can hold you off. You can hear your voice though. What's up? How you doing? But you know, for
just watching.
Tech Team 6 night, you're gonna have to be on camera.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
I mean, you can put me up if you want.
I mean, it's up to you. I don't wanna put you up and you don't want to be up.
Yeah. You know, I'm just on the weekend watching my favorite YouTuber.
Oh, I'm my favorite YouTuber too, believe it or not.
So, what you want to talk about?
Talk
about anything.
I don't know, anything. Like, what's going on? What are you working on? Don't give too much details, just, high level.
AI stuff.
AI stuff, as always. How are the bug bounties coming along?
They're going okay, but I've been focused on a new project that I think you know about.
Mm-hmm.
So that's sort of been put on the back burner, and I'm focusing on a series of different features and products based off of AI
So
technology.
I have a question for you. How do you come up with these ideas?
Mhm.
How do you come up with these ideas for these projects,
Man.
like your Chaos Camp challenges and stuff like that?
I'm sort of like an idea guy. I always have been. I've been pretty. Anytime I'm given like just a little bit of information, my brain starts ticking, and I start saying how else can this be used, and from there I start developing different features. Right. I think that came from our industry. We were exposed to a lot of PMs, a lot of product people, and we started getting an understanding of how they thought. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And we start understand why a feature is designed and how they start putting, how they start spinning that off and building up the business. So I guess it was sort of influenced just being in that room day, for all these different companies, seeing how they did it. And I said, wow, I do that naturally. And anytime I'm exposed to a new technology, the first thing that comes to mind is how many other ways can I use this? And how can that be valuable? I don't know. And you know as well as I do, what we like doing is experimenting with the concept, right?
Yep.
Testing it, seeing what it's capable of, right? So I may have an idea and I have no idea how to utilize it. We may go through a series of experiments and tests and go, wow, this is a discovery. And then now this can actually be some sort of product, right?
Yep.
So it's a little bit of that.
Cool. So when in your work history, right? How often do you work with the stakeholders? And from a QA perspective?
So like you, I've worked for big companies where you're just a number, and then very small companies where everything you do matters, voice matters. Some of the bigger companies is so abstracted. The highest I got to interact with is a key architect, right? And even that was impactful. But when you start dealing with these smaller startups, you're talking, you may even directly report to C levels or VP levels, and you work on a lot of projects that actually can make or break your company, So bigger companies, not so much. These smaller companies that I think I'm attracted to, the first few hires mean so much, right? And I think that's the area I like to stay in because you feel a lot more. You feel more worth to what you're doing when you work at that level.
Something I noticed about the bigger companies.
Mm-hmm.
Although it might seem like you are just a number, but based on the way you work, you actually don't know who notices you and who knows you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because all of a sudden you'll hear that, oh, this VP or C suite level person, like they like something that you did, like, oh, I didn't even know they knew who I am, right? So that's why, like, because I used to like, oh, the small companies, you get to do more and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's like, it's just, I guess it depends on the industry that you're working in and what you're working on, right? Because you could just be working on something that I guess it feels kind of menial, or you can be working on like the most important part of the product or application. So I guess it depends on where you get into. Yeah.
And that also ties into a good manager who will, when you do come up with a good idea, will start being your bullhorn, and bring you up to the table. But a good manager will also say, get prepared because this table is hard to sit at. You know what I'm saying? There may be some politics you're not fully aware of. And if they do the right thing, they'll guide you in how to finesse that side of things. It's a slow process, right?
Yep.
A good manager will give you small, easy tasks, and then eventually it'll get a little complicated. Then, they'll train you to sort of eventually be in that arena. So I've had bosses like that, and, I still talk to them to this day and appreciate what they did for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sock says, hey, Don. And he says, Don is a broken indexer. Oh, Don is a broken indexer. I thought I heard shots back there. Oh, my goodness. It says, is a broken indexer a feature?
I mean, a developer may say that.
It's a feature,
That's
not a
per
bug.
design. It's actually, if you think about it, it's a conditional statement gone wrong, and So
Yep.
I don't know how to answer that. Like, what kind
Nah,
of
he was
indexer?
joking. He was joking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like sometimes in chat you missed. I should have said the LOL at the end. Yeah. So yeah, you're working on some pretty cool stuff. A lot of AI stuff, like you mentioned. Yeah, not like I could spot that you're using AI to come up with my blood of my enemies energy drink.
Yeah, I was like, I don't have time for this. Give me like 10 examples of how, yeah, man, we need to use it more instead of being afraid of it. It's if we want to go deep, it's a reflection of us. The only reason AI is around is it's a very complicated spell, autocomplete.
You want to know
billions
why?
and trillions of parameters,
It just hit me when you said that. You want to know why people are so afraid of AI? Because they're afraid of themselves, right? They know what goes through their minds, and they're like, "Oh my god! Like if this thing is a reflection of me, then this is gonna be a mess."
Yeah. I'd asked AI the other night. I say, essentially, you've collected or you've embedded and sort of collected all of our inventions, thoughts, literature, and everything. And you're sort of like the mirror of what we've learned so far. And I said, what I'm scared of is that we stop being creative and thinking outside the box. And the AI is like, yeah, if you stop doing that, I won't function the way I should.
That's a great point. I remember there was a live stream, maybe last month or so, where I did some research on what were the requirements to get a refund from a boot camp, and it was like in a year span you need like almost 4,000 job applications. But I kind of understand why they have that requirement, because if they don't, then people aren't going to be pushing like what they need. But that made me think about what you said in the chat about the auto applier. That would be a pretty cool feature or pretty cool tool that can, because if it's a numbers game, like I don't know, I'm kind of mixed between it being a numbers game and your resume sucks game, right? So I don't know, but yeah, I think that like if you have a good resume and you start to use a tool like that, that would increase your chances. Like because hopefully somebody will. But if your resume sucks, you can apply to like 4,000 jobs and you still don't get any hits. So, you know.
The beautiful thing about what I'm experiencing and learning from all these experiments is for years, decades, we've been trying to develop a programming language that a human can understand and write, right? And I think we've tried and failed over and over again. Like Python's a nice language, syntactically it's nice, but now we're into a realm where human language is our actual programming language, which is going to make things a lot more powerful. It's going to empower wordsmiths, people who are good with writing, to create these very beautiful prompts that yield, information. And to look at some of that code, what it would take in the old school is all those conditional workflows. It would take mounds and mounds of bug-ridden code, right? That would have to be tested in the
waterfall model as well.
Oh God, yeah. So, if you have a nice little prompting engine, you can just have a very, very robust ecosystem and sort of create as many products as you want just by changing the prompt.
Good point.
Pretty gnarly.
That's a good point. Yeah. So anyways, we're going to keep working on the stuff that we've been talking about offline and see what we can produce. And maybe we have a demo coming up soon. I don't know.
I have an MVP up for you to check out later.
All right. I will. Did you, I don't know if you saw this, like the morning streams where I added the health check to it.
Mm-hmm. I didn't see that PR. Did you submit it?
No, I'm going to do it tomorrow morning on the live stream. I'm going to submit the PR on the live stream. So, we'll do it. I like to do it live, right? Because here's the thing, right? I want people to see, like, this is stuff that you're going to be doing in a real work environment, right? So I treat like the stuff that when we work, like when I'm working on your coding challenges, although I'm having fun with them, but I treat it as work, right? Yeah. And the way that I think through it is the way that I think through QA stuff and development stuff at work. When I thought about like, doing the health check, right? That was how I think about it as at work, right? Like, okay, we have this feature, we have this application, and we want to test like if it's up and running. So I'm like, we should have a health check, right? And so I'm like, all right, let me see how to add a health check to the Unicorn project. So I'm like, all right, I found something and I added it and I ran the test that I wrote for it and it passed. And I'm like, all right, cool. Let me submit. Let me open up a pull request to submit it. And if it's if everything is good or if there's any changes that need to be made, I'm gonna do it live so they can see the revisions that we're making. And then if it's good, then we're gonna do the merge. We're gonna merge it into the main branch, and you can see how one, you're contributing to a repo, how you would do it at work. The only thing we don't really have is like a Jira board, but that's because like this is just a coding challenge that we're working on. But if it was like we're working on a actual project, we would have like doesn't necessarily have to be Jira, but something to manage the workflow. But it's just to like show people like this is like so many people, they're like, I don't have experience. I'm like, well, what are you doing to build experience? Because you go through your 6-month camp or you take a Udemy course and stuff like that, but you're not actually doing anything. All you have is a theory at that point, right? But you're not actually doing anything to build that experience. You know, so that's why I'm like, go on to like do the challenges and think of different things, ask questions, right? But no one submitted any code review, anything like that. But they're applying for jobs they're applying for jobs all the time, and they're frustrated because they're not getting any responses. But what are you doing to prepare yourself? You know what I mean? Right. You got to put in the work first.
Yeah, it's a good thing to do. I would highly recommend, especially when it comes to change management. It's a big part of what we do because we're dealing a lot with code. Is contribute to open source. It doesn't have to be source code. It could be documentation. It could be examples. It could be one file or one line that you're contributing to make something better. But what you're exercising is how that change management works, right? And if it gets accepted, guess what? If that repo is popular, something you put on your resume.
Yep,
You know,
definitely.
So,
I mean, even if it's not popular, I'll still put. If it's accepted, I'll still put it on my resume because it shows them that like you are like you've done something. You're looking into, you know, like you're looking to learn. You're looking to contribute. It shows at least that you can write documentation, which is very important, and especially in testing. You know,
and the right boss, the boss that you want, will resonate with that, right? It's a two-way street. You're looking for a boss who looks for passion and looks for someone who's just like a go-getter. And when they hear you've contributed to an open source, there's a boss out there who's just like hands down, that's his or her first rule, like if they want to hire somebody, right? I look for that when I used to be on the hiring board for a few of the companies. I would know if I wanted to hire the person before I even met them, because I did research. Sometimes you're not given enough time because you have a lot of candidates coming down the pipe. But when it's a slow hiring phase, I would go and look them up. I found people who wrote articles on emerging technologies. I was like, yes, I want this person on my team, right? But yeah, do that kind of stuff, and the right person will see that, and you may get a job based off of it.
Sock says, "Preach the gospel, y'all." And I'll tell you, like, if anything, right, like just doing these things, like playing around with Terraform, playing around with contributing to like opening up PRs, right, and try like submitting whatever it is that you're submitting, playing around with Docker. If anything, it gives you things to talk about in an interview, right? Yeah. Something to talk about, like say, oh, you know, I've done this in Terraform. I've created some EC2 instances and I connected to them and whatever. Oh, I did this. Like I did the web UI challenge from Chaos Camp, where I did the rock paper scissors, where I had to, like, you don't know how important I see the building the Docker image, right? Because most people don't know anything about that, right? So just the fact that you can say, oh yeah, I built a Docker image and then I created the container from that image and I did some testing on it, like that's hireable right there.
Yeah.
You know, but go ahead.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing about that experiment and the feedback you gave me is it was even greater than that. You started talking about best practices in RESTful, status codes, all this stuff. So as a QA engineer, that's like what we think about. It's like, let's have more meaningful status codes to make this thing more viable for automation. If we have better status codes as an engineer, we can make better decisions in given states, right? You know, you'll see some APIs are just 200 all the way, even though it's a failure. And you're like, I cannot automate this, right?
Yeah. Yeah, or like you have to like get the response and parse the response and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just way too much code. Yeah,
and I'll tell you this too, right? Like, because what I learned from that is because I've been working with APIs for like 8 years, 10 years, right? And I would know like, okay, I need to validate that it's a 200 or it's a 202 and stuff like that, or it's a 4. Like I have a better understanding of what the error codes mean than what the valid codes mean, right? The acceptable codes. But like when I was looking at it, and I said the post request was a 200. I'm like, should it be a 200 or should it be a 202? So I just did a Google search. And I'm like, and I was like, oh, that's what 200 means, and that's what 202 means. And like 200 was like it's accepted and processed, and 202 is like it's accepted but it hasn't been processed yet. It might take some time or whatever. I'm like, oh, and that like just by like doing like looking at the code, doing the challenge, and like doing some research. I'm like, okay, so and then I was able to say, oh, in that case, this status code is valid for the scenario that we're testing for, like when you submit the play with your weapon, what you get back. I'm like, oh, so that's valid, right? So things that like, and that's why I tell people like just start, right? Because some people they're scared, like, oh, you know, this might be too much for me. I don't know anything about Docker, all this stuff. I'm like, just do something. Just go out like and then I would rather you you go to do it and you try to clone the repo and you get an error because you don't know what you don't know what you don't have Git installed, right? And now you leave a comment on one of our videos and you say, "Oh, I tried to do it, I got an error," and then you get a response saying, "Oh, that's because you need to have Git installed. Here's a link to install Git," right?
Right.
Or ask on the Q&A show, and we'll get your question answered. And then now you go through there, and then now you try to do the Docker build, and you get an error there, and like, oh, it's because you don't have Docker installed. And you just keep failing forward closer and closer and closer until now you have it built, and now like you're trying to figure out the challenge, and you have issues with that, so you ask, but by doing that, you are 100 times further than someone who didn't do anything, right? And that's what I always try to tell people, like, just do something and see where you're at. Do Google search, whatever, ask for help, because I mean, we're going to respond, I've seen times like people posted a comment and asking a question, and you responded to the comment, giving like the right giving the answer that they need and stuff like that. So I'm like, just get started, get started.
Yeah, and plus that trauma that we all go through learning, it's almost like you'll never forget the day you get attacked by a lion. There's like a chemical reaction that sort of solidifies whatever happened. You'll remember what color of clothing you were wearing, all the little details. This learning process is sort of traumatic as well. You have to go through it in order for your brain to generate those chemicals and sort of solidify all this stuff to memory.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why when I'm doing like the Terraform, or like when we're that mess that we had with Airflow and stuff like that, I do it live because I'm like, I just want to learn about it, see how much further I can get, and I'm still gonna revisit the Airflow at some point, I just wanted to mess with it a little bit more, like rebuild the Docker. And I was thinking, like with the Docker stuff that I've been doing the past few weeks, I can actually try and rebuild that Docker file live, use that to and clean out the things that we don't need, put in the things that we do need, so that we can have a working Airflow, because the purpose of it was really to get Selenium Wire to work on that container, but because we couldn't even get through the setup, we weren't able to do that. But if I can clean that up, then that's like, oh, now I learned about Docker, more about Docker. I learned more about Airflow, and I'm able to get Selenium Wire to work on that. So, just different things to try out, just different softwares to explore, keep pushing the needle forward,
Yeah. Yeah, the complexities to simplicity. The one slogan I like to say and I resonate with is simplicity is the ultimate form of sophistication. So when you're learning something with a bunch of complex components just moving around, as you start learning, you go, this isn't necessary. This isn't necessary. There's actually 20 things on screen. 3 of these things are actually needed. That takes time and experimentation, and then you eventually start developing more optimized, focused code that's less noisy. When you see really noisy code like that Airflow code that you were given, that was too noisy. That was unmaintainable. We came up with a solution, way less noise, straightforward, did exactly what we needed it to do. That's a sign of becoming you're from a noob to an expert, right? Getting rid of all that noise. So, and
then what I was thinking about as well, like, okay, so after we get that working on a local, running on Docker, right? Then I'm just gonna throw it up on Terraform and put it on an EC2 instance. And then once I can get into like Azure or Google Cloud, have it deployed to AWS and Google Cloud, and just to explore, so I don't know. That's what I've been, I'm always thinking about different ways to try different projects, push needles forward, and
Yeah, you like understanding the underpinnings of it all. So the thing you were just talking about on how to deploy to multiple environments could lead into a RESTful API on top of that. and then you could have a disaster and recovery system. I mean, that's how my brain's working right now, right? Like now I can trigger or deploy infrastructure in different regions, different areas, different services, depending if your system goes down, right? You've just
Like imagine, like just what you were saying, right? Imagine this, right? So let's say you have a script that's like, all right, so it's running on AWS, right? But if like AWS availability starts to drop or something, right? And it's like through some type of health check or monitoring or something like that, it automatically knows to deploy the Terraform script to launch it in Google.
Yeah.
So your whole infrastructure is taken down and brought up into Google. Or not even taken down from AWS, but it has like some type of failover that like if it gets too bad, just switch it all after Google's up and you can see that everything is up and running over there. Just switch it over there for like time being, right? And vice versa,
So this all exists, and if depending on what team you're on, you actually have to perform it as if it's actually happening once a year for auditing purposes. We've literally had to go through disaster recovery as if it was actually happening. We were in the chat channels going, oh no, this server's down. And then everybody had their own role and they had to act on that role. And we
Did you say, oh no?
Yeah, I said, oh no. Yeah, I was being a jokester. You know me. Oh no, the server's down. What do we do now? But yeah, all that disaster recovery, those mechanisms do exist. We typically don't get to see them in a QA role, like infra teams, IT teams, usually have to conduct those. When they sign up with these big enterprises or government, they have to have this legally documented that they actually conducted this stuff. Yeah.
I would say as QA that like you should try to, even if you're not like
I already know. I've tried to always push my way in there, and they're
exactly.
like, "This kid doesn't do that." I said, "Isn't this a quality thing?"
Like just even if you're not like really, I don't want to say contributing, but like the main part of it, at least listen in and offer advice and suggestions and stuff like that of like, hey, but what about this? And hey, what about that? Because a lot of times that's when things go wrong because they don't have that voice to say, oh, did you consider this risk? Did you consider that risk from a quality perspective,
So that stuff's usually never tested. And when it does hit the fan, it sometimes doesn't work. Or there's so much drift from that original implementation from the code. And then no one even looks at the disaster recovery code for years, maybe. So when disaster recovery does kick in, it's fractured. So it has to be part of our world. You have to have someone on your team who's familiar, like Tech Coach Rouch, and your team to jump out of our typical roles and go, I know infrastructure too. Can I be part of the testing group, and can we conduct a regression on our disaster recovery? Right?
Yep. But I'm always looking to get involved in
same here, man.
Different
That's
stuff.
why I resonate with you, because we have the same sort of mindset. Like, don't put me in this box. Let me make my own damn box. Right?
I hear like this. I shouldn't say this, but I hear people say, "Oh, because like you gotta work this much is hard." And I'm like, but I go looking for the opportunities to because here's the thing, right? I'm learning more, right? And I'm making myself more marketable and valuable, and like so I can articulate stuff. I'm always like looking for new technologies and stuff like that because I don't care about none of that stuff. I'm like, I just want to be able to offer and contribute and, make my voice be heard. So that and then I just want to be the best, so, because.
So this happened to me, and it's probably going to happen to you at the job you're at. So I started being very vocal about what I knew and what I liked. I'm the guy who likes to know new things, right? And experiment with new things, right? Like you're doing for your company. that you're working for right now. What started happening with me is all the different research and development groups started tugging me from different project to project. And that was beautiful because it embraced what I love to do the most, right? Answer questions for the business through experimentation, right? And man, I hope they see that passion that you have and start using you for some of their early proof of concepts when they're moving the company you currently work for.
Yeah, I got a great boss because like he's always coming like running by different ideas and like things I would like to do. And like like from even before I got hired, he was like him and the director were like, yeah, talking about career paths and stuff like that, And I'm always looking, okay, like what problems, like what issues are we having and what possible solutions we can find for it and how can so that's why I had did that one thing about the AWS secrets to see like how different implementations we could do with that, looking into the VPCs, like although it came up on the course right now, but I'm still like working to figure that connection with the device farm, just different stuff. But yeah, like
device farm, watch out.
Why? What's up?
Just say, for mobile.
For like we would like it for some mobile, but mainly for desktop right now.
Okay, so that's not too bad. I just had a bad experience with. It's not that performant, and AWS doesn't have to be performant in that case because they charge per minute.
Oh.
So be careful if your boss has a hard number on how quickly these tests need to run. You might be shooting yourself in the foot.
Okay. Yeah. Because we did have a mobile issue the other day, and it would have been nice to have some type of automated test around that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll definitely all that stuff. Like I investigate all that stuff when we get into it. Yeah.
I almost wish there was a new title that we could take on. DevOps, SecOps, all these different ops titles that have been springing up. We just need wild cards at the end of our name. Like an asterisk.
In QA, you dip and dive through all the different things because I'll be involved in some Terraform stuff and infrastructure stuff on like one side of it, and then there'll be development stuff that you're looking into. Then you find yourself working on some Docker stuff, and I just love it because I'm like I like all these technologies, and I'm like I'm with it.
Not to mention that, but just the problem space. The companies we've worked for in QA, we have to become an expert of or become the user of that product. We have to understand how a researcher thinks, how a pharmacist thinks, how whatever the subject is, we have to sort of become that. That we have a very powerful gift to become or to understand a perspective of someone else. Right? And that translates to any other job we have because we've seen through so many damn lenses and have the ability to jump into another lens and see, or at least to be open to seeing through that lens.
Yep. So real quick, I have the YouTube name is Rufin, but I know him as Pseudo as well. That's the guy I told you about in Out Your Way with the Terraform guy. He says, hey Ralph, he's in the chat. So just want to give him a welcome to the show. We are going to be wrapping up, but Pseudo, Rufin, whichever name you want to go by. I'm talking to Don right now. He's also
a Linux user. Pseudo.
Actually, no, but actually he's a Microsoft. He's a heavy Microsoft guy, believe it or not.
I refrain from any comments.
Oh man. But yeah, so I just wanted to acknowledge my friend in the chat real quick, and I got your text earlier. I'm going to get back to you this afternoon. And okay, I stand corrected. All right.
Much better.
He is a Linux user on Azure.
Cool.
So there you go. My bad. I I take that. Anyways, yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up, Don. I appreciate you coming up, and yeah, this was a great chat. I think this chat was like invaluable to people who are watching it live, people who are gonna watch it on replay, all that good stuff. But you know, we have work to do, so we're gonna get back to work after we hang up over here, and you know, hopefully soon. I'm gonna try out the MVP that you put up and see how that works, and then you know we'll try to demo it coming soon, one of these on a live stream. So that
I need you to break it, Ralph. I need you to break it so
all
you
right,
can fix it.
Cool. I'll do my best. You know, some people call me Wreck-It Ralph, you know, so we'll see. All right, Don, appreciate you coming up. It was a good chat. And everyone, this is Don. Look out for Tech Team 6 panel coming soon. All right. I'm just gathering everyone together, our tech SEALs together, and we're going to do it, you know. But yeah, so gonna wrap it up. Let's go and enjoy the rest of our Sunday. I'm gonna get back to work. Don's gonna get back to work. I don't know what you guys are gonna be doing, but Don, you have any parting words for the people?
Thanks for having me on, Ralph, and I appreciate you. Is that what DJ Khalid would say?
I appreciate you.
All right, Don. I'll talk to you later.
All right, man. Later.
All right, everybody. That was our good friend Don in the building. And this is why I had to stop the Terraform stuff, which it failed anyways. It had a dial TCP error, which that's the error that we had last time, but we're gonna mess with it and get it to work next week. But I stopped the show because I want you guys to hear that conversation that Don and I were having. It is like I'm gonna clip that up and you know, because that's gonna be very, very important, because I think that conversation right there is going to do wonders to your journey into tech, to your journey into QA, to wherever it is that you're heading, right? It's gonna do wonders for you. And that's the value that we try to bring here. That is the value that we try to bring here. And I know some amazing people, from Roofing in the chat to Socks in the chat to Don, other people that you haven't seen before. But no, let me acknowledge Stephanie, who's been up here a few times to talk about what she's working on. You know, I'm gonna try to bring her up one of these days for an update. You know, doing amazing things. We're out here winning. All right, we are out here winning, but we are at the end of the show. Right, next week we're gonna pick up straight into Terraform, where we're going to get this thing to work, you know, figure out what this error is, and we're going to do what we got to do. We are going to do what we have to do. All right. So I have one question for you guys before we wrap it up. The question is,
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
so if you are entertained like I'm entertained, I need you to do one last favor for me, right? Go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every single time that we go live, because you never know what we're going to do. I had Don pop up unexpectedly today. You know, maybe one day Roofing will pop up. Who knows? Who knows, right? Or, you know, maybe Socks will pop up. Who knows, you know? But you never know what's going to happen on the live show. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every single time that we go live. Like the video, share it with everyone on all of your social media platforms. Let them know that Tech Coach Ralph is here to win and to help you win. All right. Come over here and win with us, because I don't want you to just watch us win. I want you to win with us. All right. So check out Candid Conversation. Oh, before tomorrow morning, we're going live. Our Coffee and Kata. We are going to open up our pull requests for the Rock Paper Scissors Challenge to merge in our health check. All right. And we also have Candid Conversations tomorrow dropping at noon Eastern time. So check it out. And yeah, that's about it. That is about it. we are done for tonight. So if you're entertained, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Check out the Patreon, techcoachralph.dev. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow morning. All right. So this is Tech Coach Ralph signing off on this beautiful Sunday afternoon of November 26, 2023, right after Thanksgiving. All right. You guys enjoy your week. Have a beautiful, productive, like I said, productive week. Don't waste your time. Time is money. Value your time and don't respect your time and don't let anyone disrespect your time.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts. Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again. Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
Hear me, warriors of the North. Today we have tasted the sweet nectar of victory. Our foes are defeated, and their lands are now bowed before us. The gods themselves have favored our glorious deeds on this glorious day. We have shed blood, sweat, and tears to claim this land. Our relentless spirit, our unyielding determination, these are the very essence of our people. Let's believe our ancestors rejoice in the halls of Valhalla. For today, we have added to their eternal glory. Our victories will echo throughout the ages, and our names will be etched in the annals of history. But let us not forget the price we paid, the brothers and sisters we lost. They now feast in the hall of our forefathers, watching over us with pride. Their sacrifice has paved the way for this moment of triumph. As we celebrate this conquest, let us also remember that our journey is far from over. More land awaits our conquest, more battles call us forth. Let the fire in our hearts burn ever brighter, for there is no limit to what we can achieve. To those who dare stand against us, let them tremble in fear, for they shall witness the fury of the northern storm, the wrath of the untamed barbarians. Today we celebrate our victory. Tomorrow, we set our sights on new horizons, uncharted land where our banners will fly high. We are Vikings, we're barbarians, we are masters of conquest.